Welcome to the Unbreakable Mind and Body podcast. I am your host, Tiana Gonzalez, a multi-passionate creative, storyteller, and entrepreneur with a fierce love for movement. This is our space for powerful stories and actionable strategies to help you build mental resilience and elevate your self-care practice. Together, we will unlock the tools that you need to create an unbreakable mind and body. Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Tiana, and this is an impromptu episode that I am recording on the cuff on a Monday night. Now, I was brought to tears today during a session with one of my clients. The conversation was so powerful, and it made such an impact on me. And I want to share it with you because I have a question for you. But before I get to my question, I'll share what happened today. So the client I've been working with, she's been working with me about 8-9 months now. So we have a good rapport. I wouldn't say we have the most emotional or deep connection, but we have a very good professional working relationship. I am her trainer. She is my client. And when she came up the stairs today, I knew immediately that something was off. And I said, are you okay? And she said, oh, I'm a little out of it. My mom was admitted to the hospital over the weekend. And I said, oh, that's too bad. I'm so sorry. She shared a little bit about her mom's condition. And she said, I'm exhausted. I just got back, as you know, meaning me. I knew this already, but she says, I just got back from being out of town and looking after my father. Her parents are divorced. They live on separate coasts. So her mom's in the hospital and her dad is in the hospital. And the topic of death came up because she said to me, I know that my dad at least is probably on his way out. I don't think he's going to be coming out of the hospital and returning home anytime soon, if ever. And we started to talk about legacy. And I said to her, I'm not really afraid of death. It's inevitable. None of us are going to get out of here alive. I know that. But what I do think about is I wonder if people will remember me. And if they do, I wonder what they will think about. And I wonder if I'm leaving behind a good legacy. And here's the thing. I try to be a good person. I try to make a positive impact. I want to do right by people. But at what point, when you're focused on that, is it coming from you because you want to do it? Or is it coming from ego because it's how you're going to be remembered? And you want to make sure that people remember you fondly. So you see how there's an edge there. And it's a very interesting place to sort of think about. Now, if you've listened to any of the previous episodes, you've heard me talk about just being in the energy of a question without forcing an answer. And that is a different concept for a lot of people. Many people ask a question, they want an answer, and they want the answer as quickly as possible. Doesn't mean it's going to be the right answer, but it's going to be an answer. And some people will go back and forth. They'll play out scenarios. Now, the scenario thing, let me tell you, you could go down a rabbit hole with that shit, because if you do what if this happens, and then if this happens, and then that might happen, and then this could happen, and that could happen. And before you know it, you have spent an inordinate amount of time stressing about a situation that's never going to come to fruition. But when you're thinking about the imprint that you leave on the people that you see, that you are around, are you going to be making a positive impact? Are you going to be making a difference? And the thing is, how do you do that without it being ego-driven? So that question, what is your legacy? What will your legacy be? We actually don't really have control of that. We can contribute to it in some way. be a good person. But we don't have control over how the world will remember us. And I think that can be heavy to sit with. So we continued in this workout. We moved on to the next exercise. And I paused and looked at my client and I said, I've spent so much of my life unraveling a tangled web, undoing a bunch of nonsense to find myself, to pull myself out of what feels like rubble, to shed skin. And the truth of the matter is, I didn't have a great blueprint to follow. And those words, as they came out of my mouth, I realized the gravity of that statement, and it brought tears to my eyes. Now, typically, I'm very professional, and I'm not pulling in my emotions and my stuff into the session. I've worked diligently on being personal, but not taking things personally. However, for whatever reason, the timing of the conversation, wherever I am in my cycle and my hormones, I guess I showed up emotional today. So my eyes well up and I said, "Excuse me," and I walked over. There's a tissue box mounted on the wall not far from where we were. I grab a tissue, I dry my eyes, they well up again. I grab another tissue. I say, "I'm sorry." And she said, "It's okay, take your time." But here's the thing, I'm not sorry. I'm actually not sorry. I am not sorry that I felt what I felt. It was powerful. It was potent. It was this thought of like, well, this is what I had. These are the tools I had in my toolbox. I did the best I could. We don't all get handed the same deck. I'm sorry. We don't all receive the same hand from a deck of cards. We each have unique variables at the starting point. Some of us have more resources. Some of us have more nurturing and love. Some of us have very little. And some of us have more than we know what to do with. And it's interesting because truly, we only know the world from our own lens and our own experiences. We can imagine what it would be like if things were different for us. But ultimately, we only know about that through hearing our friends and our loved ones sharing their stories and their experiences and making those moments real and palpable and something that you can smell and breathe in. But truly, the experience itself is unique to each of us. And so I want to challenge you to sit with this question and really think about what your motivation, what that's coming from. What will your legacy be? And are you doing things to make the world just a little bit better? Are you doing things to be of service? Are you doing things to help someone else potentially? There's no judgment. It's truly exploratory. And I'd love if you do take the challenge that I'm posing you with to sit down, maybe journal or reflect on the answer to that question. I would love to hear your response. You can check the show notes to find out how to get in touch with me. If you like this episode or any of the episodes you've listened to of the Unbreakable Mind and Body podcast, please follow the show. You'll get notified every time a new episode is released. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing this question and this experience with me. And I'll catch you on the next one.